Hi guys, I'm Dr. Jenny White, a dentist in Sarasota, Florida, and her fearless patient Susan with our podcast, Open Wide, Unfiltered Opinions Between a Dentist and Her Patient. Over the past 25 years or so, I've been sitting in a little room talking to myself all day, and I've gained a lot of wisdom through that process, which I want to share with you. We hope our podcast casts optimism and fearlessness to you so you can rise to the top, stay at the top, and dream bigger than you've ever imagined. Okay, welcome back to the show, guys. I am so excited today for our episode. We have an amazing person, Miss Ilka Rodriguez, that we are interviewing today. And let me start off by reading a little bit of Ilka's profile. Miss Rodriguez served with distinction for 36 years at the CIA, initially operating undercover in hostile environments, and ultimately becoming a member of the CIA's senior executive cadre, attaining a rank that is the military equivalent of Rear Admiral. She earned 18 exceptional performance commendations for every major project she led and 3 leadership commendations. She demonstrated superior results developing innovative programs and increasing the performance of substandard organizations. Most notable achievements include responsibility for the operation of CIA's Language Institute. Did you even know they had one? And agency-wide recruiting. Ms. Rodriguez has faced many personal challenges, such as overcoming potentially lifelong paralysis, surviving late stage 3 breast cancer, and caring for a stroke victim spouse for 15 years while functioning as head of household. A polyglot, she is proficient in 4 foreign languages, including Spanish, and is the president of I. Rodriguez and Associates, a personal and organizational development consultancy specializing in executive coaching, operational improvement, customized professional proficiency training in English and Spanish, and leadership management training for profit, nonprofit, and government contracting organizations. Welcome to the show, Ilka. Thank you so much for being here.
Fantastic.
What an introduction.
Yeah.
I mean, like there are 7 million places to begin.
Yeah.
Let's start it off with, where are you from? How did you become this?
Well, I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey, so I'm proud to be a Jersey girl. Grew up in Hackensack, neighboring Hackensack, New Jersey. Made famous by Billy Joel, who needs a house out in Hackensack.
Yeah.
And we always used to say, we do. My parents were immigrants. My father was from Cuba. My mother was from Colombia. And my only sibling, my older brother, who's 12 years older, was also born in Colombia. And they emigrated in 1957, and I was born 6 years after. And went to Catholic school, K through 12, nice little Catholic girl. But my dream, I used to watch That Girl, that show, the Marlo Thomas show.
Sure.
And I wanted to be Anne Marie. I wanted to live in New York and have a career in New York and wear fancy clothes. And so I said, well, I've got to go to college in New York. And I set my sights on New York University. They had a good language program. So I graduated with a bachelor's in French and German. And in my senior year, a classmate pointed out an ad in the newspaper, the school newspaper, when they had them on paper those days. We're talking 1984. And I had studied abroad twice. I won a scholarship to study at the university. It's called, in Spanish, it's Universidad Complutense de Madrid, which is kind of like Madrid University. And I did a summer study there. And then I studied in Paris at the Catholic Institute, which is like the papal university of France. Every country has a papal university, and that was France's. And so I had that experience, and I was a very good language student. I was a member of the German Honor Society at NYU, and I had won a prize in high school for being outstanding language student from my high school in the state of New Jersey. So, I had some game.
You had the language thing.
I had some game in language. And so my classmate said, Ilka, CIA is doing an info session at the Federal Building. Usually companies and organizations would do it on campus, but NYU deemed CIA too controversial. to have on campus. So they had theirs at the Federal Building downtown. He says, Ilka, I'm going to go. I'm going to check this out as, come on, CIA. And, I laughed because my image of the CIA was, Ivy League white guys, not little Latina girls from Hackensack, New Jersey. And he says, Ilka, they'd be very interested in you. I'm like, oh, come on. Me, a spy? And like, you'd be a good spy. I'm like, oh. So I came home because I commuted. I couldn't afford the housing at NYU. And I said to my parents, Mommy, Papi, CIA. And they said, well, you got to check it out. I said, you're joking. I'm like, yeah, why not? Check it out. Language, you'd be good. I'm like, oh, come on. You're not scared? And I'm like, well, you're not necessarily going to do spy stuff, right? I said, I don't know. And I didn't even have a suit to interview in. And Mommy said, come on, let's go to Macy's. And went to the local Macy's, got my suit. And my classmate was going to join me at the info session. And he didn't show, and I did. And the rest, as they say, is history. I mean, I took a test. They used to do like a GRE type test. They actually had the testing done at Columbia University uptown, the Ivy League big sister type thing. And it was a day-long thing, and they did, all had like a psychological inventory in the test to see if, you were some kind of psychopath or something up front. And I guess I did okay because I got a phone call from the New York recruiter. They had recruiters around the country at that time. And he said, yeah, I think you'd be good. And he says, how do you feel about going to Washington for interviews? I said, okay. So during spring break, I went and I interviewed with two offices. One was, it's called the Open Source Center. But back then it was called the Foreign Broadcast Information Service. And they basically cull intelligence from open source. TV, broadcast media, print media, whatever. And they were interested in me because of my language capabilities. But it seemed a little boring because it seemed to me they're like in some back room translating stuff. Translating stuff. And or interpreting, doing the oral. I thought, oh, that's interesting. But then the other office, that's the one that really grabbed my attention, the Office of Technical Service. And if you've ever seen a James Bond movie, that's the real life Q in James Bond, the gadgetry shop. I didn't know that's what it was when I interviewed. Eventually I found out. They just basically said, well, you did well on the test and you speak several languages. And from the test, we kind of divined that you have a photographic memory and you've studied abroad. And they said, we think you'd be great for our office. And I thought, well, what do you do? I'm like, well, we really can't tell you. And I said, oh, okay.
Sign me up.
And that's exactly what I said.
Wow.
I said, okay, I'm in. And I got the phone call graduation day that I was cleared and ready to go.
Interesting. So what characteristics do you think they saw in you? I know the languages, and they were able to discern you have a photographic memory.
The fact that I had studied abroad, that I had done well on my own, going to school abroad.
Okay.
The fact that I had curiosity about the world.
Okay.
I was very interested in everything, different cultures, languages, what have you.
Right.
What about your physical? Like, are they looking for a specific body type?
No, but I do think that my appearance and my gender helped me considerably.
Okay.
In the operations business because, I was pretty much under the radar. People wouldn't say, oh, there goes an American.
Oh,
they'd say,
okay.
She could be
Colombian,
Greek,
she could be Cuban,
she could be Lebanese, whatever. So I had that kind of every ethnicity look. And women are less suspicious in the spy business. They assume that it's a guy doing the spying.
Even still, even today, you think?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Even though when I retired from CIA in August 2021, women made up the majority of the workhouse. Slightly, like 55 maybe percent, 57%, as opposed to whatever the 43% or whatever the remainder is. I'm not great at math, but there are more women
Interesting. So is there a difference between a spy, an agent, an asset, an intelligence officer? Are they all the same? They're just different words for the same thing?
Okay, so all of us that worked for CIA were intelligence officers.
Okay.
Because we were part
You
of
were
that
gathering
that service,
intelligence, yeah,
you know, and we weren't all gathering intelligence, but we were all serving the intelligence mission.
Okay.
So we were intelligence officers. Now, the people who you think of, like James Bond,
Yeah.
that's a case officer. That's what you call them.
Okay.
These are the people that convince foreigners to hand over secrets.
Okay.
And the foreigners who hand over the secrets are assets.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
assets are usually foreign nationals,
Yeah.
and case officers are the U.S. people saying, come spy for us.
Right. Okay.
So, how do we find assets in countries? Do the case officers go and they specifically are looking for these people? Or do these people volunteer themselves somehow to say, hey, I've got a bunch of information I'd like to?
Well,
Probably both.
CIA has stations abroad. That's what a CIA office
All over the
is.
world,
All
right?
over the world,
Yeah.
yeah. And, many times they're affiliated with the embassy. They're embedded in the embassy. And they go to diplomatic receptions. They meet people, case officers do. But they also have techniques to identify people in that country who might be willing to talk about their country's sensitive information with our case officers.
Can I build on that for just a second?
Yes, of course.
So what is it, something that you would notice in somebody that the rest of us would miss? To try to get them to maybe say something that you need.
Well, I wasn't a case officer.
Okay.
So, I wasn't recruiting people. I wasn't recruiting assets per se. However, because I had to convince assets at times to use the gear that I was
The gear du jour.
proffering, I had a lot of the same skills. And
Yeah.
so I guess what I used was I'm skilled in finding that common thing between myself and another person.
Okay.
I listen to their accent. I look at their appearance.
Okay.
And I ask questions, and I'm quickly able to get to know somebody.
Right.
For some reason, I have the gift of making people feel comfortable, and they tell me everything.
Okay.
Bob, my partner, he's like, Ilka, how do you do that? How do you get people to talk to you like that?
Yeah.
And someone said to me the other day, Ilka, it's the way you look at people when you talk to them. When you talk to people, when you want something from someone, when you want to connect with someone,
Yeah.
you look in their eyes and you make them feel like they're the only person in the world.
Okay.
And I think that was a skill that I used very well
Yep.
in my business.
Yep.
And I did it with case officers because sometimes case officers were the hardest people to work with
Yeah.
because they're socialized to think they're God's gift because they have a tough job. They spend their days convincing people to commit treason. That's really what they do.
Right.
And that's a tough job, and it can take a toll on you. And so I had to sometimes recruit case officers to use the stuff that I was telling them to use. I mean, I have one story that's really interesting. I was in Asia, and we had a case officer who had a really big head, and we wanted him to wear a wig to protect his identity. When he was recruiting people or meeting with an asset, and he refused, and said,
Just a wig.
yes,
it was
Just a wig.
No,
We're not
Because it was
talking about tattoos.
Too
No,
tight or
a
too
wig.
hot or
Yes,
too uncomfortable. He couldn't be himself.
Yeah, that's right. And they said, Ilka, this guy is notorious. He doesn't want to use anything. And he's got to use something. He's got to protect his face.
Yeah.
And go in and see what you can do.
Yeah.
And he was a big Slav from Chicago, this guy. And he says, "Hi." And I'm like, "Hi." He says, "I'm not going to wear that wig." And I said, "Okay, I got it." And I said, "Well, would you consider something else?" And he says, "What do you got?" I'm like, "Huh?" I said, "How about some colored mousse?" "What's that?" I said, "It's mousse with color in it."
Oh, fascinating.
And he said, "All right, show me." I said, "Okay." So I sat him in the chair, and I started very provocatively massaging mousse in his head.
Fascinating. To turn him from brunette to blonde or whatever.
This is part of your job.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I had no idea. So anyway, I did it, and I combed his hair differently. Because, the trick of disguise is not to look glamorous, or you just want to look very different. That's all.
Yeah.
And so he had some gray, so I took the gray out of his hair with the mousse, and I combed it back. He had it parted, and I combed it straight back. And then he stood there, and I went, this is shameful, but I said, "Oh, my, you look 10 years younger." And I lowered my voice, and I thought, this is really cheap. I can't believe it. And he said, "Yeah?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You look very attractive." And he says, "Really?" I said, "Mm-hmm." And then his wife was working at the station with him. And he says, "Hey, come over here. Look at me." And she's like, "Yeah." He says, "Ilka says I look 10 years younger." She goes, You look okay." And he says, "Okay, I'll use it." And there we go.
And he's used it ever since, probably.
Wow.
And I thought
that was a smart idea.
But I thought, I'm going to try the, "Oh, wow, you're so handsome."
Yeah.
And I probably
That
said,
works every time. It works every time.
That's so cheesy.
That's so Mickey Mouse.
It's so Mickey Mouse.
But it works.
But I'm going to try it and see how far I can get.
Yeah.
And there we go. And he wrote a cable, official message back to headquarters saying that I was the finest disguise officer he had ever met.
Wow.
And I thought, I just put mousse in your hair, dummy.
No,
And
but that's
did
great.
he tell you that you look 10 years younger too?
I actually was more than 10 years younger than he was, but I was quite young when I did that.
So, Ilka, are there many families involved with the CIA? Like you mentioned, a husband and wife. Is that a common thing that you would see?
Well, it used to be called the CT, the Career Trainee Program. I don't know what they call it now, but it was a training program for the high potentials in every occupation we had. And they used to call the Directorate of Operations is the division that has the case officers in it. It's actually one of the smallest parts of the agency. The other directorates, scientific technology, and are much bigger. So people think, oh, they're all running around, but they're actually the smallest part of the agency, relatively. But they used to call the DO, Directorate of Operations, we love acronyms, CT program as the best dating service best matchmaking service in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, because you can't
You're in the same
really,
business, you can't really talk about it except to each other.
so you tend to look internally for your social outlets.
Yeah,
and
it
in
makes
some cases,
sense.
your romantic lives.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense to me.
So, So, I look at the friends that I have in my life, and many of them are former agency colleagues because we can't talk about what we do, even to our spouses, really, if they're not agency.
Yeah. But they understand if you disappear for 3 days and, that kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
I'm going TDY, temporary duty, which is a business trip. Going TDY. And they're like, okay, I'll see you when you get back.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I was watching a special on, I think it's Hulu, about the CIA, and there was a case officer. She was no longer a case officer, and she was on vacation in Europe when we were doing the withdrawal from Iraq, and she was getting word on these boards about people that were suffering, that were outside of the airport that needed to be put in. She literally set up a little station for herself in her bathroom in her Airbnb in Europe while her family was on vacation. And she would, because she said, once you join this organization, you can't not help. You can't stop. She could not stop helping, even though she was not, quote unquote, active. And she had such respect, I guess, from her peers that everyone, trusted her, I guess, with her.
So she was still an agency employee or not?
I'm not, I need to get caught up on all the lingo, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Well, I'll tell you mine.
But is it true? My question to you is it true that the caring, the helping people, the wanting to make sure America is safe, it stays with you,
I would,
whether you're in or out?
Yeah, I would say that here's an interesting figure for you. And at one point, I was number 2 in recruitment at CIA, as you said in the intro. 1 in 15 people who apply to get into Harvard get in. 1 in 200 people who apply to Google, to work for Google, get in. 1 in 1,500 people who apply to the CIA get in. So that'll tell you about the caliber of people that the agency hires.
Yeah.
I mean, about 150,000 people apply to the agency every year. I don't know what the figure, that's what it was when I was there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like now, but I would imagine it's still pretty high.
Yeah.
And we hire, and I say we as if I still work there, but I love the agency. I mean, we hire in the very low 4 figures every year. So 150,000 to very low 4 figures. So, the funnel is like this.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So the people I believe I know, not that it's a perfect organization, no organization is, but the caliber of people who work for the agency is through the roof.
Oh, I'm sure.
We talk about service, integrity, and excellence.
Yeah.
That's our mantra. And service is big. We're very proud to do what we do.
Yeah.
It's a love of country, it's patriotism, it's the desire to contribute to the national security of our nation, to keep Americans safe, to help Americans stay safe, to protect the from hostile threats. And, I say to people now here in Sarasota, where we live, if people only knew, especially after 9/11, what was avoided, what the agency prevented from happening.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't even
No, I'm
imagine.
sure.
I mean,
I am sure of it.
and, I knew about things that were going to happen months before they were going to happen, before the press talked about them. And of course, you're sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
So this whole oath you take to keep secrets, to protect our country, it breeds tremendous loyalty to the organization. I mean, typically CIA attrition is under 4%.
That's amazing.
When I joined, I didn't think I'd be there 36 years. I thought, I'll do 5-10 years or whatever. But the mission hooks you.
Yeah.
And the agency is very astute at making sure that you never get bored. Our assignments are no more than 4 years long. We're constantly churning and rotating. So it's always exciting. You're always learning. You're always doing something new.
Right.
They have tremendous development, educational opportunities. I mean, when I think about how the agency invested in me, they sent me to Harvard for a week. They sent me to the Brookings Institute for a week. They sent me to the Robert Smith School of Business at University of Maryland for a week. They paid for my master's degree at the George Washington University. I worked full-time, went to school. I mean, what organizations do that?
Yeah.
Not a lot, I don't think.
Right.
It sounds like a privilege to be a part of it. It really does.
It was an honor.
Yeah.
It was an honor to have been an agency officer. Absolutely.
What's the difference between the CIA and the FBI, and how do the two organizations work together?
Well, the FBI is law enforcement organization.
Okay.
And CIA is not.
Okay.
CIA is an intelligence gathering. It can be paramilitary.
Yep.
It does have a paramilitary component to it. And many times if the president and his cabinet have decided to invade a country, the first people going in are CIA people, gathering information, seeing what can be done. And they come back with the intelligence and they say to the armed forces, okay, this is what we see. Devise your battle plans. So many times agency people are the first in.
Okay.
FBI is, again, law enforcement. FBI checks into U.S. people.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, is one U.S. based, the other is international?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. FBI is internally looking.
Yeah.
And CIA is externally looking.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
And that's probably why we hear more about the FBI. FBI is investigating this. FBI will be called in for that. FBI. We don't hear CIA in whatever
offshore.
Country.
No,
yeah.
But
because it's secretive.
But the CIA and the FBI are part of the intelligence community. And the intelligence community is comprised of 16 agencies. And the State Department is part of the intelligence community.
Yeah.
The Department of Energy is part of the intelligence community.
Okay.
People that you wouldn't, like the NSA, the national, they're the spy, the signals intelligence people, the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office. Those are the spy satellite people. I actually had the opportunity to work there for 3 years.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because in order to make executive, you have to have served in another intelligence community agency. So you have to go outside of CIA.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, Ilka, part of your expertise were these gadgets.
Yeah.
Would you say that the United States is at the top of the game when it comes to inventing the latest and greatest in spy gadgetry?
I think
in the world.
So I'll take it more broadly as far as intelligence services. There's the KGB, there's the Mossad in Israel, there's the MI5, MI6 in the UK. The DGI in Cuba, and I've had the opportunity to see them in not the Mossad, but it's definitely the KGB, the DGI in Cuba. I'm familiar with the Commonwealth nations services. We would get together and talk about tradecraft, and when I was running the Language Institute, I talked to the people in MI5 and MI6 about, so what are you doing to develop language skills in your officers? And I'd have to say that the agency is world class in terms of intelligence organizations. The thing that people don't understand, though, is that there's tremendous oversight of the CIA. There are the two committees, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and the House, HPSI and SISI. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, HPSI, and the SISI, Senate Committee on Intelligence. And especially after Watergate, our policymakers said, they went a little rogue, didn't they? Well, it's not that we went a little rogue. The president at the time said, do this for me. And that's another thing people don't understand. CIA doesn't go rogue, at least not for the last 50 years. I think there were times, I don't know if it went rogue, but I think
off the track
a little bit, but never without the president's knowledge.
And that brings me to another point. How do you take, when you go into these hostile countries and you collect information and, first in or whatever, how does that it ultimately gets to the president, right?
Yeah.
All this information is gathered and it gets to the president. Mm-hmm. How does it go from the person
on the street
to the president in the White House?
So human intelligence, there are different types of intelligence. And human intelligence is information gathered by humans through humans. So it's sitting down with the foreign national and saying, tell me about what's happening in your country. That's human. There's signals intelligence. That's what the NSA does. There's OSINT, open source intelligence. That's the people who are looking at print and broadcast media. So there are all types of intelligence, but humans is what people think of when they think of the CIA. And human is given then, raw data is given to collection. They're called collection management officers in the director of operations. And they take that raw stuff and they say, let me make some sense of that. They refine it, and then they give it to the intelligence analysts. And then the analysts say, okay, that person said this in country X. I'm looking at the bigger picture. This is what I see happening or coming in country X. And then reports are written. And those reports are then communicated to the White House.
That's a high-pressure job to be an analyst.
Can I ask a question related to that, though? As we record this, we're in the middle of this issue with Iran. And it seems as if the Mossad had an early into the intelligence of what was going on with Khomeini and others in the Iranian regime. How does Mossad get that information to the CIA or to the President of the United States? And what is the obligation that one country tells the other country what's going on if it's endangering them in any way?
There's no quote-unquote obligation.
Okay.
But countries do align for convenience sake.
Yeah.
And if they have the same objectives.
Right.
And they will share intelligence as the need arises.
Okay.
Said
And
just
that's
like a
all you-
CIA.
I know.
Said
And that's
exactly
all
like-
she's going to say on that.
And that's a wrap on that.
Thank you, though. That's helpful. Thanks, Ilka. Yeah.
So, Ilka, in your 36 years, what is an incident or something that you're most proud of that you were a part of? What's one of the your accomplishments that you are like, God, I am so proud of that. Like, when I have a really tough dental case, which I know this is not the same.
It is
like
the same.
when it is flippin' complicated and I've got multiple specialists and I look at that after x-ray and I go, nailed it. I mean, what's a scenario in your world where you can say, I did a great job, that I am proud to be a part of, do what I'm doing here?
Well, I had really...
Or is it every day?
It is kind of every day, but I had two distinct careers. I had the technical intelligence officer, the spy girl career for the first 7 years of my career. And I ultimately kind of tired of that because I was single and I wanted to be married someday. I wanted to be a mother. And I thought, that's going to be kind of tough doing this.
Yeah.
And I also felt like I had been to two hostile countries. In other words, countries that really hate the United States under deep cover. I put my life on the line. I could have been either arrested or executed for what I was doing. And I thought, you know what? That's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got commendations for both those assignments in those two countries. And, I was the first woman to have done what I did in those countries. I used cover that nobody had used before. So I was a real trailblazer in those two places, very dangerous places. So I felt like, it doesn't get better than this. I feel that I've hit the high. And I decided I wanted to try something else. And I got involved in personnel recruitment. And I was still undercover, so I had to do everything in alias. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. And I got involved in HR. And I'm proud to say I was the first Latina in HR to become an executive.
Yeah.
So
that's a really good accomplishment.
Yeah. But in terms of something I did, gosh.
Or like one single thing. It's more of an overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an overall, but I was proud. I did a number of groundbreaking projects, led a number of groundbreaking projects in HR that I'm proud to say have endured. So I left a really rich legacy in HR. And, it's with any organization, it starts with the people.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you don't do the right selection,
That's right.
Yeah.
hiring.
From the beginning, you got trouble, right?
Yeah. And I was involved in a lot of that. And when I led, this is probably my proudest accomplishment. One of my proudest. I have a lot, but this one, basically the Language Institute and all the training function of the agency was going to be, their budgets were going to be slashed because it costs a lot of money to run the agency.
Yeah.
And the administrative tail was very high. And they decided to put all the administrative services under a fee-for-service model. And that was a revolutionary concept. I mean, everything was centrally funded. I mean, the DO said, I need 10 of these. Okay. And we just give it to them. And now we were saying, you're going to have to pay for each and every one of those. You're going to have to budget for it. Budget? Come on.
Yeah.
We're James Bond. You don't have to worry about that. And the Language Institute came under that. And they decided to downgrade the position of the leader, the chair, or the chief of the Language Institute. So there's two scales. There's a general schedule, pay schedule in the federal government, 1 through 15, and 15 being the highest. And then there's the senior executive service or senior intelligence service. CIA calls it SIS. And that's the executive cadre in the federal government. And, as you said, my equivalent was fairly high if you think about me in military terms. And I replaced a SIS-2 as a GS-14. And they said, Ilka, you're going to have to run this place like a business. And I did all the work. I figured out to a penny how much it cost to deliver this really high caliber language training. And I told the director of operations, this is what it's going to cost you. And they said, what? I said, that's what it's going to cost. Well, we're going to go to Berlitz. And I had all these people, 16 languages, all these people who were saying, am I going to lose my job? Da, 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 da. The DO was saying, we're not going to pay, screw them, we're going to shut the school down and all this stuff. And I thought, wow. And because I had been in operations before that, I understood the incredible importance of language to operations. And I said to them, I said, that's a really bad mistake you're going to make if you shut this place down. Because we teach people language from scratch, and we teach them the spy business in that language. And you've got to have people who are fully cleared to do that. Berlitz can't do that for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Berlitz is cheap because they hire whoever.
Right.
We hire native speakers who understand adult education. That's a tough combo to find.
Yeah.
So it costs us a lot because we run a really high quality operation.
Yeah.
Our highest student-teacher ratio is 4-to-1. We do full-time language training. We get you from no knowledge to professional proficiency.
Unbelievable. And how long a time does it generally take?
It depends on the language.
Yeah.
So Spanish takes 32 weeks of full-time training.
Okay.
Arabic takes 88.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
This is for scale. This is timelines for native speakers of English.
Right.
What about Mandarin?
Mandarin is the four hardest languages for English speakers to learn are what we call the Jack languages: Japanese, Arabic, Chinese, and Korean. And they all take 88 weeks to get to professional proficiency. So 2 years.
How great would it be to learn that in 88 weeks?
Yeah. But
It's really amazing.
But what's interesting to me about your work is it's not just how do you order a hot dog in Arabic, but you have to know
How do you convince people to spy for you?
exactly, and how do you know?
Just slightly above the hot dog.
Well, yeah. So the scale. So proficiency. There's a scale. It's called the Interagency Language Roundtable Scale. That's used to categorize proficiency. 0 is no proficiency. 5 is highly educated native.
Okay.
And there aren't too many of those 5s walking the earth.
Right.
An example of 5 in English, if you remember him, William F. Buckley.
Yeah.
Sure.
He was a 5.
Okay. Yeah, he was very verbose and very crisp.
He was very erudite.
Very crisp with his language.
Huge vocabulary.
Huge vocabulary, yeah.
That's 5.
Okay.
The English we're speaking right now, the 3 of us, is maybe is about a 3.
Yeah.
Susan, we're more
We're
on
gonna
the
throw in
one.
some high
We're the
words.
one.
No, we're about a 3.
Ilka's the 3. We're 1.
No, actually, no.
No, Ilka's 5.
No,
We're 2.
We're 2.
No.
1.8.
No.
but
I mean, I've taken an English proficiency test.
Right.
And I'm a 4+ in English.
Yeah.
You know, and
Wow.
that's fairly high.
Yeah,
You
of course.
but I'm a 4 in French and I'm a 4 in Spanish.
Yeah. Okay.
My mother would be so proud of you. She loved English. She loved the language.
I love language.
She
period.
loved vocabulary.
Yeah.
I love language. Period.
What I wanted to get at though was this issue around you could teach me Arabic, but if you're going to put me in this small town, then you need me to also know some of the colloquial expressions of that town.
Yes.
And also some of the candy from that town or something. And because I remember a spy movie I saw one time, the agent got tripped up because they didn't know this common candy of that particular region or something. I forget what it was. But it's not just language. You got to really get down into the culture.
It's what we call area familiarization.
Yeah.
So you have to know the area in which you're operating and its culture and its customs.
Yeah.
And it's colloquialisms.
Yeah.
It's regionalisms.
Yeah.
It's dialects.
And that all came out of your school, right? I mean,
we
that's
did
an
it in 16
amazing.
languages. I mean, that was one of the positions I got an intelligence commendation medal
Yeah.
for my leadership of the language institute because ultimately we didn't go to a fee for service.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot
You
of homework.
convinced them not
I did.
to. Yeah.
I said, and I put it in really pedestrian terms. I said, okay, guys. Walmart, Nordstrom.
Yeah. Right. You'd have
What
to
do you
know
want?
that. You have to know the
What do you
difference.
want?
Yeah.
I like them both.
Yeah, but you need Nordstrom.
Yeah.
To get your job done,
Yeah.
you need Nordstrom.
Yeah.
So you have to write the check.
Yeah.
If you don't want to write the check, fine. We'll dissolve. We'll dismantle the school. But think about what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
I said,
And putting the lives of your agents in danger because
Absolutely,
yeah.
well,
Now,
Yeah.
Ilka, another thing I'm picking up on with this language program that you set up to take English and to teach somebody from
I didn't
ground
set it up. It's just what I manage.
But
yeah.
all
I want to
the
take credit.
details, all the zillions of details that go into a language and a culture, I can't imagine the acuity of your brain for details. That's really
Well,
a huge asset.
I think the thing
Even
that,
today.
the thing that I had going for me when I managed the Language Institute was, and I actually named it the Language. It used to be called the Language School, and I said, "Come on now, the State Department has the Foreign Service Institute, the Armed Forces have the Defense Language Institute.
Yeah. We need
Why
to
can't
fluff
we
this
be
up.
the Intelligence Language
Yeah.
Institute?" And they said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Come on, ILI, DLI for the Armed Forces, FSI for the diplomats,
Yeah.
ILI for us. What do you think?" And I said, "Yeah," and it's still called ILI.
Yeah. Good.
Awesome.
It's the right name. It actually is.
It is the right name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you have to be an American citizen to be a CIA agent?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
You can be naturalized, of course.
Naturalized. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got to take the oath to
Yeah,
defend the
no,
United
you've
States.
got to be a U.S.
Right.
citizen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You must be a hard person to lie to. What do you look for when? What do you look for when somebody's lying to you? It's got to be hard to be your son because he couldn't tell you he was going bowling, like I did to my mother all through high school when clearly I wasn't going bowling.
No, Mom, I'm in my room.
So
Yeah, my son says, that's cap, Mom. I said, cap nothing. You were doing this. He said, Mom. I was like,
so what do you look for in somebody that you can determine that they're lying? Like
That's a great question.
They blink too much or they sweat too much?
Yes, like sweating. I'm telling you.
I didn't interrogate people or anything like that.
Yeah.
But people, when they're lying, don't look at you in your eyes.
Okay.
They start perspiring.
Yeah.
They get fidgety.
Okay.
They trip themselves up. They'll say one thing and then later they'll say something else. You have to be a very intent listener.
Yeah.
And pick up on those things.
Yeah.
Notice when they're, engaging in falsehoods.
Okay.
And, that's what I used.
Yeah. Okay.
But I wasn't, I wasn't recruiting assets per se.
Right.
I was basically equipping assets and case officers with the gear they needed.
And putting mousse in their hair.
Putting mousse in their hair.
Which is brilliant.
And telling them how young they look. That is absolutely brilliant.
I don't know where I pulled it out of. I think I know where I pulled it out of, but I'm pretty good at assessing quickly.
Yeah.
And I know when a person's full of themselves or insecure or just by how they speak, what the words they choose.
Okay.
How they speak.
Right.
If they engage in too much one-upmanship, I thought, oh, this person has some self-esteem problems. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a good listener.
Yeah.
And I do quick assessments of people. And sometimes it pisses my family members off, because I'll call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
I love that. Ilka.
Yeah,
I just
too.
love that. Life's too short for the petty
Cut through
stuff.
the bull.
Yeah,
That's right.
it is.
Yeah. Get to that boom.
And please don't kid a kidder. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't lie to me. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
No. You're not that altruistic. Come on. Like, when I see people who are anyone who I think acts in the extreme. Extreme left, extreme right, extreme religious zealots.
Yeah. It's
Anything
crazy.
in the extreme, I think, is a red flag for me, at least. And my partner Bob, I've pointed out things to him, and he doesn't necessarily like to hear them. He's like, I'm telling you because I care about you.
Yeah.
And I want to have your back.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that person, I don't think they really love you.
Yeah. Interesting.
And he'll say, oh, come on. I was like,
Yeah.
You have such a nice delivery of how you do that. When I try to tell Tom things like that, I think I come across too,
Well, you
because I
can't
have my opinion.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do
you're
that.
more of a.
Or she's more of a. Next time with Tom, say, you look 10 years younger today.
Put that mousse in your hair. Put that mousse in your hair, dear.
Purple hair.
Well, so just real quick, it's like feedback, performance feedback.
Yeah.
I at one point, one of my assignments was to teach managers. I did leadership and management training at CIA, and I created courses and everything that are still in existence. And I always used to say, one of my mantras was feedback. Always put it in terms of situation, behavior, and impact. When you did this is how I felt. Not say you made me, I felt as a result of that behavior.
Yeah.
And you separate the person from the behavior.
Right.
Number one. Number two, you can give people highly developmental feedback without destroying their ego.
Right.
Why do people think they have to destroy somebody's ego to tell them when they screwed up? But you have to tell people when they screw up. You have to say it in a hearable way.
Yeah.
But you got to tell them.
Yeah.
And I always used to tell the new supervisors, please don't let your direct reports walk around with kick me signs on their backs.
Yeah.
If they're screwing up, tell them. Be a human.
Yeah.
And say, now, you did that incorrectly, but I'm willing to work with you. I'll coach you. And I'm going to teach you. But don't do it again. Let me tell you, because if you do it again, this is the impact. Now, if you try that 3 or 4 times and they're not getting it, then you might start thinking, I need to start thinking about maybe termination of this person. but you got to give people a chance to develop. And you as a leader are a teacher. People don't like to hear that, but good leaders have to be teachers. And you've got to develop people.
Yeah.
You've got to invest.
This is something I would love personally to learn so much more about. I really would. That leadership quality is just, it seems to me in the corporate world, some people have it, some people just don't.
Yes.
I've never thought of it as a learnable skill.
It is learnable. It's not this whole thing, natural leaders. I think some people are more gifted, more intuitive about it, but you can make leaders. You can make good managers, most definitely.
Yeah.
Extraordinary leaders may be harder because I think leaders have vision. They have healthy self-esteem. The worst people I ever worked for were people that had very low self-esteem, marginal interpersonal skills, marginal communication skills. You've got to excel at all those things if you're going to lead people, and especially if you're going to lead people and tell them to do things that are hard or that they might have to put their lives at risk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, the giants of the armed forces are so incredible. What they convinced people to do.
Yeah, that's true.
But they were extraordinary leaders.
Yeah.
And you have to have compassion for people. You have to really like people, I think, to lead them.
Yeah.
And you have to be interested in them. So,
Yeah.
and I always have been. And I do think that I have a strong leadership profile. I really do.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Susan, when we first met Ilka, she told us, we went to lunch, which was great, meeting for the first time. And Susan and I were both thinking, at least I was thinking, I don't want to talk for you, but I was thinking, what's she think of us? What's she, how am I presenting to her? Because she reads people, CIA. And you read our Briggs-Myers without...
Myers-Briggs.
Or Myers-Briggs. See, I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah.
And you nailed Susan's Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Like first time meeting. Yeah. I mean, to be a reader of people...
Yeah.
Makes
it's a powerful tool.
For a great leader.
It is a powerful tool.
And I don't even know what Myers-Briggs is.
And it's not just leaders. It's people. People who can read people are powerful people because you can either use it to do harm, or
good.
Good.
Yeah.
And I've tried to always do good.
Yeah.
And I have a huge network of people around the world.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested in them. I mean, my Bob always tells me, he says, you just like people so much. I said, I do. And he says, and people like you. And I'm like, I guess.
Go figure.
I guess, And he's a doll. He says, I wish I had that talent that you have.
Yeah, it's true.
Tell us a little bit about your business. So you've transitioned from the CIA 31. You now have I. Rodriguez and Associates. Tell me a little bit about that and how can people get in touch with you if they would like to have you help them?
Oh, thank you. My tagline is personal and organizational development. And it's broad, I know, but I do a lot of things. I do executive search, executive coaching, leadership and management training, organizational development. So that means you have an organization that's not working optimally. And you call me in, I'll say, okay, let's take a look at your organization. Do you have the right number of people? Do you know what your mission is? Do you have clarity of mission? Do you communicate your mission? Does your org structure look the way it needs to look like? Do you have too many people here, not enough people there? So I can do that in fairly quick order and say, okay, given what I've discovered about your organization and you as a leader, these are the things that I think you should change. Take it or leave it. I can help you change them, but you've got to accept that these are things you have to change. And in some cases, I've had clients that are like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay. And other ones that have been in denial.
Yeah.
And the ones that are in denial, I'm like, okay, pay me what I did and goodbye.
Yeah. And you'll be wishing you'd listened a year from now when you're...
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've worked with nonprofits and for-profits, and at the end of the day, for me at least, an organization is an organization.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do.
So it doesn't matter the size of the business, or it doesn't matter the occupation or anything. Okay.
No. The mission of the organization is irrelevant to me.
So you can fly in, you can do an analysis, you can give a report, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
And then you could take it to the next level and help whatever
Put the tools
deficiencies
in place.
with the tools and systems and things.
I can either dismantle parts of it if they're inefficient, or I could build new parts of it with you. But you have to accept that what I'm saying has to resonate with you is the bottom line.
Right.
If it doesn't resonate with you, then I really can't help you further.
Right.
I've gone as far as I can go.
Right.
But if it resonates, and let's roll up our sleeves and
But
get to work.
chances are somebody's not going to hire a firm like yours and not listen to the event. That'd be like going to the dentist and still eating chocolate and not floss.
Are you kidding me?
There you go.
All day long. Oh my God.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy, Susan. That's a great analogy. I like it. Yeah. No, I've had clients that have. I had one client that I said, "Don't do this. This is the impact of doing the negative impact of doing this."
Yeah, and they did it.
And they did it the next morning.
Oh God.
The exact opposite of what I advised the next morning.
Like children.
And I thought, okay, good luck.
Yeah.
I told you so.
But everybody has got to learn. This is what I've learned from the little dental industry that I have. Everyone's on their journey.
Yeah.
No journey is the same.
That's right.
Some people are going to floss from day one, and some people are going to go to the grave never flossing. I mean, it runs the gamut, and everybody's an individualized decision making.
Yes, that's right.
Something of the. I'm just taking random words, Ilka. At this point.
You're very good. You're very good.
Seeing what sticks.
You're very good.
Position on the English scale.
West Virginia. Are there many West Virginian CIAs?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We recruit. The Mountaineers. You're called? No.
Oh yes.
We have Mountaineers in CIA. This is a funny thing though. The other name for CIA is, it's a little inside joke, Catholics in Action.
Oh, come on.
A lot of Roman
Now,
Catholics.
where do you think that's from?
Oh,
Why?
gosh. I think...
Guilt from not...
Yeah, I think I'm a practicing Roman Catholic.
Well, so am I.
I mean, I think, the guilt...
Maybe not practicing.
The confession. I mean, we get on the polygraph machine and we just breathe heavy and it starts going like this.
Oh,
so
interesting.
We can't fool the machine.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll confess to things we didn't do, practically.
Yeah.
And, I've worked for several Roman Catholic directors.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of our directors, General Michael Hayden, who was an Air Force general, and he ran the National Security Agency before he ran CIA. One of the first questions he would ask his security people before he traveled was, where's the closest Catholic church?
Oh,
So
interesting.
that he could attend Mass.
Interesting.
So how does this tie in, Ilka, to Mountaineers?
Not a lot of Catholic Mountaineers, I don't think.
Yeah, that would be a stretch.
Anyway, I wanted to kind of put a bow on our interview here. How do our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, it's live. My website for my business is live. I'm going to launch it officially on Monday.
Okay.
But it's www.iRodriguez and Associates, altogether, lowercase.com.
I Rodriguez Associates.
And Associates.
And Associates.com.
And spelled out. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got my panoply of services. And, to me, variety is the spice of life. So you've got, my first step always with a client is, do you think you have something you'd like to do better? What is it? And let me see if I can help you. And if I can't help them, I'll say, I may know somebody who can. But if I can, I will. And if they are open to my feedback and my recommendations, I can continue with them. So either short-term, long-term, whatever. But it's, case by case, client by client. Yeah. But it's fun.
You're such an asset, and I can't thank you enough for everything you did to to help protect our country.
Thank you. I'm very proud of my service.
Yeah,
I am
you
just,
should be.
it's an
Ilka.
honor to.
We learned a lot today. Thanks for coming on. We may have you on again
so
because I'm
much.
sure we have
I would love to have you
other
back for
questions
part
we haven't
two
got to.
for our next 1,000 questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so
thank
much
you
for
so
the
much.
opportunity, ladies.
And this is a CIA wrap.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you.
Ilka.
Oh,
It was
thank
fun.
you.
That was great.
We thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share this show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.